back to another custom tactics video. Today's the 4-3-2-1 pro player top 200 custom tactics and player instructions. So it's quite a narrow formation, this one, but it's sort of a mix between narrow and wide. So you see we've got the left forwards and the right forwards, who are sort of a bit like wingers, but they're quite narrower than that. They sort of cover the sort of help out the strikers. It's quite hard to explain, but you'll see what I mean if you use the formation. But this is a very good formation. It's quite an attacking formation. You've got a strong midfield and you've got a strong attack as well. So let's get on with the custom tactics. The defensive style, we're going to be using pressure on heavy touch. When it's a more attacking formation is when I tend to use using pressures. If it's a more defensive formation, I just go with balanced. But we're using pressure on heavy touch today because I think it's the best option out of all the presses you have options to. Press after possession loss was very good last year, but pressure on heavy touch seems to be better this year. For the width, we're going to be using it 55, making it a bit wider. Because it's not the widest of formations, it can only help by making it a bit wider. And for the depth, we're going to be using 60. No need for the automatic offside trap from 17 above, so we're going to be sticking with 60. For the build-up play today, we're going to be using balanced. It sort of gives you most freedom on the ball, so you're not stuck to one thing. And for this formation, balance seems to work well. We're using direct passing to make the runs with our strikers, left forward and right forward, as easily as possible to get the ball to them quickly. Width, we're going to keep it nice and simple, just on 50 width. Reason for this, because it's quite a strange shaped formation, if that makes sense. So you get some formations, if I just move to the right here, when it's wingers, you sort of want them to push up against the touchline. When it's formation which is sort of sets the shape, you don't want to change the shape of the formation, if that makes sense. You want to try and keep the shape of the formation. So we're going to be keeping that nice and default. Plays in box 6, corners on 2 and free kicks on 2. Hopefully that made sense. I know I explained it very badly, but basically you want to try and keep the shape of the formation instead of just pushing it out wide or making it too narrow. For the custom tactics, you want your striker stay central, get in behind and stay forward is personally what I like best. If you want to change anything as well, go ahead and feel free, but this is personally what I find best, and this is the top 200. These are pro player tactics, so it's what I recommend doing. Left forward and right forward, going to be using balanced whips. They drift out wide sometimes, but not too often. Get in behind as well, and then we're going to leave in basic defense support on these. If you want to use stay forward, go ahead and do that, but personally I prefer to use basic defense support. For the three midfielders, for the left and the right one, leave completely default. Personally, I don't like to change anything. You can use stay on edge of box for cross if you want them to be not pushing into the box, so they're sort of not going too attacking, not too far forward. Personally, I'll just leave them both completely default. With the middle one, and make sure you have cover centre on, that's important, and then have either stay back while attacking, so they're not pushing into, they're not sort of becoming a third centre back, but they're just staying in their position and sort of not pushing up when attacking, or you can just leave it unbalanced if you want to as well. It's sort of up to you if you want. If you have a more defensive player here, I recommend using stay back while attacking. If you want to play more attacking, use balanced attack. Personally, I prefer to use stay back while attacking. They still say they don't become a CDM, so if you drop between defenders, they'll sort of become a third centre back / CDM. If you use stay back while attacking, they'll stay in the centre mid position, just not going too far forward. Two centre backs always leave default. For your full backs, I actually recommend using balanced attack with overlap. I normally say if you have wide players, then use stay back while attacking. But this formation, you've got come back on defence on the left forward and right forward, so you've got their defensive help. I recommend balanced attack, so they can run right out wide against the touchline. If you can see my mouse here, you want them to be really wide against the touchline because the left forward and right forward aren't wide enough as it is. So you want your left back and right back to be doing the work out wide, overlapping the left forward and right forward and getting crosses into the box. If you don't want to do that, then you can use stay back while attacking, but personally I think balanced attack works well. But you do need fast centre backs and good attacking fullbacks. You need fast and good attacking fullbacks. And lastly, for your goalkeeper, you want comes to crosses, so your keeper's coming in for his line more to defend corners and crosses. And a sweeper keeper, so he's being more aggressive, coming outside of the box and challenging the opponent for loose balls and through balls into the box. That's the 4-3-2-1 formation. I'll go back to the tactics for a second so you can see here if you didn't get anything down. That's the 4-3-2-1 formation. It's a very good attacking formation. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, just let me know in the comments below and I'll reply as quickly as possible. Any suggestions as well, leave them below. But that is everything for today. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day and goodbye.